I've skipped here to number 5, and not for any particular reason other than the fact that in this question, what we're asking you is we're shooting a bow and arrow, right? We're shooting an arrow up into the sky. And the question really comes down to, well, what is the maximum height of that arrow, right? So right here, what is the maximum height of the arrow? Again, Desmos is going to do the hard work for us. It's super easy. I've already typed in our equation, h equals 112t minus 16t squared. But again, we can't see the maximum height. I can see where it's hitting the ground again 7 seconds later, but I can't see its maximum height. So you could keep zooming out and maybe doing a little bit of dragging. It's not too hard to get up there and see where that maximum height is. If you want to see the more of that parabolic shape one more time, we could just start. What I like to do is I like to start adding zeros. So that was 10, right? And then 100. We still can't really see it. Let's click and drag, right? So I was at 100. Let's get rid of that. And now if I add another zero, now I've gone way too far. So maybe I'm just going to say 100 was close. Let's do 200. And now I can visually see my parabola really clearly. So the maximum height is always going to be at that vertex. And be careful which of those two numbers you write down, because the first one in this case is your time. So it gets to maximum height after 3.5 seconds, but its maximum height is 196 feet. So if you were going to type that in on or write that in, you would want to talk about its max height, right, is 196 feet. We are in feet this time, right? Yep. After 3.5 seconds, right? Now you can see what that parabola is saying and what the vertex is saying in its entirety, okay? Now, let's move on for something that instead of projectile motion, let's look at the profit of a company, right? So we're going to talk about Sundry's company. We're going to use this parabola here, or this quadratic equation, that summarizes or that kind of determines the profits per sale. So we want to find the amount of sales, X. That means how much of what we're going to sell, how much do we have to sell to give Sundry's company the largest profit per sale, right? So this is really important. If you want to stay in business, you got to know what you're doing. You got to know what the math is telling you. So just like we did before, we're going to come back to Desmos. I'm going to click the home key just so it goes back to our regular. And I'm going to type this in exactly as I see it. So f of x equals negative 0.6 x squared plus 15x minus 4. So once again, I can't see my parabola. I'm going to just start experimenting here, clicking and dragging, and maybe that's good enough. I don't even need to change my wrench at all. That's probably good right there, right? So let's think about what the question asked. It says, find the amount of sales, X. So the first thing it's asking us for is X. It's asking us to find an X value that will give the company its largest profit per sale, right? So be careful here. The first thing is we want to make sure that we are giving it the X value. The X value, if we click on this, 12.5, 12.5 is going to be that X value. That's the amount that we want to produce, right? 12.5 didn't give us what X is in. It's just some type of sales. Maybe that's 12.5 units of something. But our X value is going to be 12.5. So the 12.5 in sales, right, will maximize, right, is going to give us, will give or maximize our profit. Maximize, don't know how to spell still, our profit, right? Well, what is that profit, right? That's the next question. What is that profit going to be? Well, that's the other component of your equation, or your vertex rather. 89.75, right? Our maximum profit is going to be $89.75 per sale, right? So max profit is, we're going to go in dollars here, $89.75. That's our max profit for if we sell 20.2, excuse me, 12.5 in sales. So it's also really important for businesses and companies to figure out how much they should make. You know, if you think about someone who's making a product, if you make too little of it, you don't maximize your sales. If you make too much of it and you can't sell it all, now you're spending a bunch of money on the product that no one's buying, and so you're not maximizing your profit either. There's literally a sweet spot, and that's your vertex. That sweet spot of making pretty much exactly the same amount that people are going to buy, that'll maximize your profit. That's a business application for this. Okay? So another great example of how we can use Desmos, how we can use projectile motion. So this isn't projectile motion either, but this time what we're trying to do is really say, okay, well, what's the minimum profit that a company could make, right? So we have a new equation, P equals f of x, which is x squared minus 25x plus 5,000. So guys, you're going to see this is the same process. We're going to do the exact same thing. We have x squared minus 25x plus 5,000. So I'm definitely going to have to change my window here because at the moment I can't see anything. So I'm just going to start zooming out until I see something. Oof. So what that tells me, so when I see a parabola that looks like this, it tells me that I need to change my x's, right? I need to change my x's. I got to get up to about almost 5,000, but then my y's are going to be around 5,000, but my x's need to be much, much smaller. So if I go back to the home and I go to my wrench, I want my y-axis, really, I'm going to run my y-axis from about negative 100 to maybe, I'm just going to start adding zeros on here. And here we go, we're starting to see our parabola. But I could even make my x's a little larger as well. So maybe to go negative 100 all the way to positive 100. Ah, here's my beautiful parabola, right? So now I can see it. It's really important. That's a skill right there, guys. And I do it quickly, but it really is important that you guys get good at this. That's the new skill. It used to be a skill on the calculator, but this is such an important skill now to be able to make sure you can change your window, is what this is called, to see the right thing, right? If you were trying to look out your window and you can't see, you would change how you're looking out your window to see something. So let's go back to what the question was. The question said, find the minimum profit made by the company. Well, again, our minimum profit happens at the vertex. In this case, interestingly enough, it's 12.5, but that was the product. The engineering firm's minimum profit, the lowest amount they can make, is $4,843.75. So minimum profit is going to be 4,000 $843.75. That's our minimum profit. So this is what it's all about, guys, making sure that we can use Desmos to be able to answer some of these questions and visualize what's going on. That essentially covers it all. There's plenty more here you can practice. There's more projectile motion questions, but I think you're getting the idea of how the Desmos allows us to visualize our different scenarios and then use Desmos to answer those scenarios within the context of the question. So good luck on your practice problems. Keep it up. We're proud of you.